Hi, everybody. Dr. Steppen here. We wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of a tool that we'll be using a lot this year called the Interactive Media Bias Chart. And it'll help us a lot with the sourcing of the stuff that we're going to be using this year. We've done some of that in class, but we wanted to make sure that we have a good common background going forward. Overall, it's set up in a way that should be familiar to us. It's got an x-axis and a y-axis, and so we'll get a little mathy here. But what it does is it takes a lot of media sources that are out there in the world, and it puts them in some sort of ranking system. So we wanted to point out how that works. Overall, the real purpose of journalism is to provide us with information we can use in order to make up our minds. So this sort of media literacy is very important, especially as we gain information a lot through the media about things that we study in class. Now, the way that this organization does this is through a pretty rigorous sentence analysis. What they do in any of these media sources is they use their whole body of work, meaning that there are some articles which might fall a little bit more high on the factual scale and some more on the opinion scale. So what they'll do is make kind of a body of work and rank it that way. So any one article can be a little off from where this is, but overall, this reflects their overall credibility. Now, on the x-axis, what we have is the ones in the middle would be considered the most politically neutral, meaning that if there is any sort of bias, it sort of comes out in the wash, so it's more toward the center. The word skew means it just sort of shifts left or right a little bit. So if you recall from political ideologies as we studied those, the left is going to be trending more liberal and the right will be trending more conservative. So in terms of skewing right, that means that it has a slight bias in that way. Hyperpartisan would mean that it would be almost completely behind a political party. That's where the word partisan comes from. And the most extreme would be that it's probably not even useful. And the same goes this way. So this one would be it just trends a little left, that it's more reliably liberal, and then this one would be that it would almost be unusable. Now, this is the part over here, the y-axis, that might be of the most interest to us. In journalism, the most important feature that or function that it would have would be that it's reporting facts. So the news sources at the highest part here are more factual in their reporting. They're reporting ongoing facts in a complete way. And we'll say what that means in a minute. Below that, you're going to get a little bit more into analysis. Analysis would be reporting on facts, but also trying to make sense of them. What do they mean? Something that's more opinionated would be just below the overall source reliability, but they use the word fair. The word fair would mean that when they do try to provide analysis or opinion, that it is using facts completely, not cherry picking facts that are basically just to support their point of view, leaving out inconvenient facts that might counteract it in some way, leaving parts out. They may, as we get into unfair kinds of things, they may use personal attacks. They might use irrelevant facts that would be distracting, or even emotionally charged language they're seen as using for that. So as we get down to the bottom here, they're not even really worth looking at. And the word propaganda is something we might be familiar with, which is basically the entire purpose of it is not to provide fair facts or analysis, but is more just propaganda meant to spread disinformation. So that's a something, a resource that we're going to be using to get started. And today, hopefully you enjoy it.